work of Jack Bush captivates viewers from his earliest representational subjects to his celebrated abstracts seen here. The color-filled painter's work is sought after by collectors in Canada and internationally. Cowley Abbott has had the privilege of offering significant artwork by Bush throughout the past decade, including a record-breaking 1965 canvas, Column on Browns. This season, it is our pleasure to introduce to the market this pair of commanding abstract canvases spanning 2 prime decades. 1966's Rose, Red and Red and 1975's Bridge Passage are sure to excite bidders this fall season. This monumental oil-on canvas, Rose, Red and Red, dates to January 1966 and is appearing on the auction market for the first time since the 1980s. Its day-glow light colors are intensely vibrant, giving the painting a strong contemporary presence. However, despite its ultra-modern feeling, it's equally representative of its time. Its pink, red, orange, and sharp chartreuse green are characteristic shades of the swinging 60s. This painting is among the last of Bush's large oil paintings, since he permanently switched to using water-based acrylic paints in March 1966. He had been painting with oil paints for over 40 years, and Rose, Red and Red is a testament to his mastery of luminosity, even with the thinnest application of paint. To break the tension of the oil-based medium, Bush thinned his oil paints with turpentine, which allowed the pigment to be absorbed by the unprimed canvas. Ultimately, the color appears rubbed in, with hints of the lighter canvas showing through. Rose, Red and Red has an impressive exhibition history, beginning with its first public debut in Brazil at the Sao Paulo Biennial in 1967, where it was in close contention for the top prize. 3 years later, Rose, Red and Red was included in a 10-year retrospective held at the Norman Mackenzie Art Gallery in Regina. In 1976, Rose, Red and Red was featured in the artist's nationally touring retrospective exhibition organized by the Art Gallery of Ontario. In 2016, this bright painting was included in an exhibition titled Jack Bush in Studio, organized by Esker Foundation and curated by Dr. Sarah Stanners. The show consisted of 20 paintings by the artist, touring to the McMichael Canadian Art Collection after their inaugural presentation in Calgary. As Dr. Sarah Stanners remarks, some paintings by Jack Bush positively glow, and Rose, Red and Red is a shining example. You'd be hard-pressed to think of a mature sash painting by Bush that is any fresher than Rose, Red and Red. Painted 9 years after Rose, Red and Red is this large canvas, Bridge Passage, dating to 1975. Throughout this decade, Bush was painting complexly colored pictures on modeled grounds. These grounds, which the artist had returned to in 1969, were now rolled on and then sponged with partially mixed paint. Mark Mayer writes how these prepared grounds became a textured granite-like surface upon which Bush deployed color. Bridge Passage has its typical modeled background in a shade of mauve, with areas of the canvas still visible throughout. Bush also left space around the far edges of the painted picture, another typical characteristic of his 70s work. On top of these backgrounds, the artist explored different themes of central imagery, from fringes to totems in 1973 to 74, followed by strokes and handkerchiefs, as seen in this painting. Shortly after its completion, Bridge Passage was included in the major Jack Bush retrospective at the Art Gallery of Ontario in 1976. It then traveled to the Vancouver Art Gallery, Edmonton Art Gallery, Montreal Museum of Fine Arts, and the National Gallery of Canada. These 2 stunning canvases by Jack Bush will be offered in the December 6th Cowley Abbott live auction.